My name is Chaney Becker. I live here in Ranchos, Taos, and been living in Taos for about 8 years. Moved here from Massachusetts, and I really just love Taos for, I don't know, the dirt roads and beat up trucks. I thought that was something really special about it. I lived here in this house for about 1.5 years, and when I moved in here, I really wanted a garden and noticed that the caliche soil was not very good for the gardening. So one thing that I started to do was composting. My mom had always kept a compost pile for her gardens, and so we always had the little bin on the counter, so food scraps would go there and bring it out to the pile. But this was the first time I ever really started composting for myself. So and that was just to have nice rich soil, to have a nice beautiful garden was the plan. It was the plan. So I started off with a 3-bin compost. So each of the bins are about 4-foot cubes, and they're right next to each other. And I built that just using scraps of latillas that were in the yard and some pallets. And the idea was to have a confined space that I could keep the compost, so it wouldn't be just this massive heap. And then the 3 sections were to make it easier to turn it over, because I would have 2 piles going at the same time, and I'd turn one over into the empty spot and the other one over to the empty spot. I do this about once a month or so. And so that system allows for it to be neat and tidy and defined, and also makes it easier to turn over. The turning over of the compost introduces more air. You can also see if it's getting dried out, which in New Mexico is an inhibitor for compost, as it just gets so dry. So turning it over and sometimes watering it when I turn it over, it speeds up the process, and was able to have probably almost, I think, 16 cubic feet of compost within 8 months or something like that, with continuing to add my household compost. I was picking up coffee grounds and then leaves in the fall when I saw them in the side of the road, and also started picking up animal bedding and manure to add to that. And so that worked. I mean, that was the first. That's how it all got started. And then in the front, which we didn't really look at earlier, I have some long rows of just leaves and the same material, the compostable stuff, and they're spaced about 6 feet apart, and so I can just turn one over and then turn it over. They kind of roll across the landscape, I guess, my roaming compost piles. But those ones aren't as compact or necessarily neat and tidy looking for a finished garden environment. So we'll see.